Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Thursday. I hope your morning is off to a good start, or for those on the East Coast, your day is rolling along and going well. Welcome to the Impact Tribe podcast, where we meet exceptional people who create a positive impact on the world. I'm your host, Ashley Bright. We are streaming live on LinkedIn and YouTube. And so if you are on either of those channels, which I assume you are if you're watching, please give us a follow or subscribe. We're also on Instagram. And so just look for us at the Impact Tribe podcast. Very quickly, a shout out to our sponsor, Opus Clip. If you are not familiar with Opus Clip, they are amazing. They will take your long form content like this podcast, for example, and turn it into little bite-sized clips that you can share on social media. They do all the captioning and editing. It's super simple. I highly recommend. And so if you are interested, then I take advantage of this offer that's right here. Get a discount on that. It's a fabulous piece of software. You will not regret it. All right, now let's get into my guest today. I'm very excited to have this individual back. Well, I say back because I don't know that I've ever really had her on, but I have been on her show a number of times. Wonderful, wonderful person. And so let's get into it. I'm excited to welcome a woman who brings infectious energy to everything she touches. I think you're going to see that today. She's a powerful storyteller, a keynote speaker, an author, event host, serial entrepreneur. We're going to learn about something new she's up to. Mom of two, as if that isn't a big enough job on its own, and all around super cool human. She's been dubbed the authentic girl with a touch of badass. So with that, I would like everyone to put your hands together for my good friend, Tisha Pelletier, Tisha Maria Pelletier. Did I say that right? I've never never quite asked you if that's how you say it or not. Did I get it right?
Yeah, you did. Tisha Marie Pelletier. But
Pelletier.
Thank
There we go.
Thank you, Ashley. And no, I actually haven't been on your show before, so this is a first time. So I'm excited.
Yes, and we thank you. We were talking about this in the green room beforehand, that like this is sort of full circle, because I was on your show and different iterations of that show at least twice that I can remember, maybe 3 times. And then you and I had a conversation and I said, I wanted to do this show, what I'm doing right now. And your number one word of advice was simplicity. And I've taken that to heart, and pretty much everything I've done about this was modeled after what you were doing. And then I've slowly kind of evolved it. But so I have to give you praise and kudos for getting me on this journey and allowing me to keep it simple so I could keep doing it. And we're up to episode 26. So clearly something we're doing is working.
Yay. Simplicity was my word of the year last year. And I always tell people it served me really well. And everything I've done in my life, I've really tried to keep simple, because when it hasn't been simple, it's been kind of a hot mess. So simplicity is the key. Yes. Just take it back to basics.
Absolutely. And one of the things I'll add to that is the acknowledgement or recognition that it will never be as good the first time as you want it to be, but you will evolve and it will improve. And I'm a testament to that, because I look at some of those very early episodes and they were like, I mean, the guests were wonderful, conversation were wonderful, but I'm just looking at the whole production aspect and myself and I'm like, I've learned a lot. So, but that's the point, I guess, right?
I think we all make that noise. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, enough about me and my whole sort of whirlwind of stuff, but let's learn about you, Tish. I mean, I know about you, but it seems like every 6 months you're up to something new. So I don't know if we want to go back to the beginning here as a plane flies over in celebration of you.
Yay!
Or we want to jump right up to where you are now. So I'll kind of let you go with wherever you feel the vibe.
Okay, goodness. Well, you did give a great introduction. So thank you, Ashley, for filling in who I am a little bit. And yeah, I think that for people who are watching, I think majority may know who I am, but let me enlighten you. So you mentioned something earlier about full circle. And I feel like my life has been this big circle of things. And the reason I say that is, I think I've mentioned to you that I started in business in 2004. So I'm going on 21 years, like I'm legal 21 years, 21 years being in business for myself. And people have always asked me, like, why did you start? I'm like, oh, it's just horrible bosses, like that Horrible Bosses movie. Yeah, horrible bosses, like just bad bad business owners, bad decision makers that I'm like, oh, I could totally do this. And I started my first company, Simply Put Marketing, back in 2004. And I swore, Ashley, I don't know if you've ever had this in your head of, okay, I'm going to become an entrepreneur when I'm 35 or when I'm 40. And here I was like just turning 25. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to start this business and see where this takes me and have a plan B if it doesn't work out. And I mean, 21 years later, 6 businesses later, and I still get excited about it. I still love being an entrepreneur and the flexibility and the freedom and just being able to design the life that I want.
Mhm.
And so from there, I've had multiple businesses in marketing, event management. I ran a networking group for mom entrepreneurs called the Mom E Club. And you know what's funny is when I talk about full circle, everything that I've ever done in my life, I still get to do now,
Mm.
different context, and I get paid to do it. So it's just like, okay, maybe I had to go through all these iterations and all these trials and all of these moments, these ups and downs to get to here where I'm like, yes, do over.
Absolutely, and that's, I mean, it's a really important topic for anyone watching who is either considering being an entrepreneur or is in the early stages of it. I think both of us can attest that it's a journey,
Mhm.
and there will be those ups and downs and that uncertainty, and pretty much just about every cliche you've heard, there's an aspect of truth to it, because I mean, if I known what I know now, would I have started it? Yes. But I would have probably shaved at least 50% of the time off because of all the things I've learned about what not to do or what I should have done or all those things. But I also, as you know, Tisha, you can't go back. So you got to just
Yeah,
roll with it and take that
you
learning and see, how do I do this moving forward?
exactly. You got to roll with it. And that's I think that's where I'm at right now is, oh goodness, like all the things that I did, now I get to try it again and I get to do it much better. So you're right. This whole journey, this whole, what do we call it, the entrepreneurial roller coaster that we're on, we're learning as we go and we're keeping it stored saying, okay, when I do this again, I'm going to do it differently. Just like you said with your podcast, okay, I started it this way, but I know there's things I'm going to change as I keep moving. And that to me is like the lesson of life. Constantly be improving, constantly be making progress, upping your game, whatever you're doing, but don't lose sight of yourself either. Let's also put that into context. Like,
Yeah, and it's sorry, we're getting. I decided to host the podcast outside, and I've got helicopters, I've got planes. We're just it's
hey,
the dog is asleep though, so that's one win. We don't have that, but I was just going to acknowledge there's someone. Unfortunately, I think they're on your channel, so I can't see their name on the comments, but they're saying, "Yay, that is the way to do it, Tisha." So
yeah.
obviously, someone who knows you well and your reputation. But yeah, it was just one of the things that I was going to say in relation to that is one of the things, and I don't know about you, Tisha, but I had this where I tended to sort of drink from the fire hose of well-intended information as an
Mhm,
entrepreneur.
mhm.
And whether it was mentors that had good intentions or social media or influencers or whatever. And I really truly feel like it's only in the last 18 months, which is scary because I've been at this for 12 years, where I feel like I'm starting to integrate and create my own systems and patterns and
Mhm.
habits around this. And better late than never. I wish it was sooner, but it was
I
like,
know.
I really feel like I'm rediscovering some of these things that for years was just very scattered. And I was sort of like taking that and taking that. I'll try this, I'll try that. And that's that wisdom and that experience that comes into play, I hope.
Yeah, those systems are huge. And when you put the processes and the systems in place, like I have so many friends that that's all they talk about is systems and processes. And like I said, I don't feel like I had a lot of that in my former businesses. So it's so nice to be able to say, okay, I'm doing this differently. And I see the results and I see how it's making my life simpler. And I told you that simplicity word is so big in my world. And as I mentioned, my first company was Simply Put Marketing, and now this new business, our merch page, our tagline is merchandise marketing made simple. So we want to simplify the process in so many ways, not just for our customers, but for ourselves, right? Why do we want to be stressed? I don't want to be stressed. I don't know about you, Ashley, but I don't want to be
No,
stressed,
I know. I mean, and it's so, I hate to say it, it's so obvious in retrospect,
right?
but that's that, that earned wisdom
Mhm.
as they say. I love that phrase because it's, everyone wants to help and everyone has advice. And I think unless you have context for where that's coming from and also how that integrates with the way you are,
Mhm.
it it's hard to really put that into action. So I want to acknowledge we've got Royce Blake just jumped in with a comment here. He says, Tisha, you know my favorite phrase. Hey, you screwed up way bigger thing than this.
Hey, Royce, good to see you. So I want to give a shout out to Royce too, who gave me my favorite phrase, and it was, Tisha, you have an audience of one. And I really love that. So, Royce, thank you, because that sits in my head all the time. When I was hosting my Tisha Talks live stream, which I let go because I wanted to focus on some other things, Royce was always such an avid fan and always popping in. And he is a former radio DJ from
Mm.
Arizona. So you might remember if you grew up here, like Power 92.3, like
Oh,
he
yeah.
was one of the DJs. And we always talked about this. And that has stuck with me, that lesson, because I'm not speaking to the masses. If my content or what I said or my Monday motivation or my lesson in my Lexus appealed to one person, that was enough for me. That was enough. Like, I do it because I want to share something. I'm not doing it because I want it to go viral or I want all the people to love me. I'm just like, if it got through to one person and it helped that one person, then I did my job that day, and I'm really happy with that. So,
Yeah, and that's such an important perspective to have. And if for those of you that are, I'm amazed that there's people that don't know Tisha, because Tisha has been everywhere and is, as she says, very, her intent is very true and honest in terms of like, if I can connect with one person. And so
mhm.
whether it was Tisha Talks or what was it, Stories of a Lexus?
Yeah, lessons
It
in
was
my
a Camry
Lexus.
and then it became a
Yeah,
Lexus.
it was
So
it was Convo in my Camry.
Convo
So
in your
I've been
Camry.
doing Car Talks for probably like a good 6, 7 years, and it's had iterations, right? It started with just weekly reflections,
Yep.
and then it turned into Convo in my Camry, and now it's kind of got an upgrade. It's got the lessons in my Lexus, and
Lessons in your Lexus. And then
yeah.
the Monday, was it Monday Motivations? Monday.
Yeah, so it's my Monday motivational push. So I try to
Hmm.
push that out every single Monday unless I'm traveling, and sometimes even when I'm traveling. And that's just a short, less than a minute. I got tired of constantly seeing people regurgitate crap on Instagram.
Mm.
Like the inspirational, like, you've got this. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I was looking for a way to just infuse some energy and some enthusiasm into something and just show up. And I'm like, I could show up for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute, whatever. And I just post those to my pages. And what's funny is, like, a lot of people might be quiet lurkers. They might be consuming your content, Ashley, but I will get text messages from people just saying, oh my gosh, I really needed that message today. Or I've gone through this thing too. And I just needed that Monday push. And so that's like, this is why I just keep it going. I'm like, okay, well, here we go. Like, that's unique to me. I do that every Monday and people know where to find me.
It's wonderful. And it's like you said, how you show up. And so whether you're
Mhm.
showing up for 30 seconds or 3 minutes and you're showing up for 100 people or one person, someone gets value out of that. Someone connects. And that's what's so valuable. And it's we all need those little moments. This is the thing I've learned getting older. And it's something that when you're younger, I think you're a little bit oblivious to, but we're all going through our own struggles.
Yeah.
And we all
Yeah.
need those little reminders, those little moments to kind of uplift us and bring us back or realize we're not alone,
Yeah.
whatever we're going through. And so I've always appreciated those. And I'm going to give a shout out here to Cindy. Thank you for joining us. Cindy is someone that's in my network and is just learning about Tisha. So Cindy, I recommend, if you haven't connected, please do. Tisha, aside from the wonderful energy and the way she shows up, there's a lot of learning and value that you can gain, I think, from, as we're talking about, her seeming lifetime of experience, now at 21, legal entrepreneur age, to share. So, Cindy, thank you for being here. So, Tisha, let's jump in, because we've gotten a lot about the background and what you've been up to on social media and the way you
Sure.
show up. Talk to me about, I know you've got this new business.
Hmm.
Is it, you said this is the sixth business? Is that correct?
Yes.
The
Six.
sixth business that
It's
you're
kind
just
of like a
launching.
6.5, and I'll
Six and
tell
a
you the
half.
backstory about
Okay.
that. So we're
Okay.
sticking with 6.5,
Okay.
and yeah. So a couple years ago in 2023, I was like everybody on Instagram, and I got sucked into watching a webinar. It was an impulse buy, sat on this webinar, and I was like, yes, this is the course. And I have other businesses. I do a lot of business mentoring, speaking, consulting already under Tisha Marie Enterprises, that brand. And then I also have my real estate license. So I have been contracted by my broker to do all sorts of things like their marketing, their networking, their events. So like I said, I'm like getting a do-over in all the things that I do. And my business coach at the time, shout out to Alenka, was like, Tisha, you really should create a business that's more sustainable, passive income stream. And it just got me thinking. And so when this opportunity came, I was like, you know what? I'm always about investing in my success. I'm always about learning new things, trying things. And so I immediately jumped on this course, and then I had buyer's remorse because I'm like, I don't know if this is what I want to do, because it was teaching us how to create an e-commerce site and be a B2C type business. And even though I was like, I don't know anything about this, I knew what I needed, and I knew that I needed the right type of team behind me. So I immediately approached a good friend of mine that actually goes to church with me, Ginger, and she's a fantastic artist and designer. And she was kind of looking for an opportunity. But the main reason I started it was I never want my kids to say, I don't have control over this. I can't find work. I can't do anything. So for me, it was a bigger picture of, could I teach my kids a skill? Could they be a business owner if they needed to be because of circumstances? I know so many people, and Ashley, we both do, so many people that are just like, I can't find a job. I just got let go from my corporate job and there's nothing out there. And I'm like, no, you have the answer. You have the skills. Put the skills to work. And so, for me, it was more about, how do I leave this legacy, start this business, leave a legacy for my kids so they could pick up. And so in 2024, I brought my partner, and, I brought my niece who had just graduated from high school and was looking for some part-time work. And we started this business called Love, Laugh, Smile Gifts. And it was a business to consumer site. And what we quickly found out was there's one way to make money: sell a t-shirt, sell thousands of t-shirts, sell 10,000 t-shirts. And not that we didn't have any sales, but it was hey, I need a shirt because I want this custom message, or maybe I just want two. And I'm like, Ginger, we just made $20 between the two of us. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this isn't going to work. And so we were both having not regrets, but a little bit of, and I just went to her sometime last fall and I said, you know what, Ginger, I'm not ready to throw in the towel, but I will not build this business. I like the infrastructure, but I don't like this model. And so the two of us, we went to Pine for a couple days, and we literally we were at my broker's cabin. We literally sat in this room with all the bunk beds. We were in the kids' room because it was the warmest room in the house. Bought, a bottle of wine, had a charcuterie board. We had our whiteboard out, and we were just like scribbling, like ripping Love, Laugh, Smiles apart and saying, how do we rebuild this? And it was actually, this is, like you said, I gave you this idea to do this podcast and the simplicity way. It was actually a friend of ours, a client of mine, that came to me and said, you know what, I have this amazing membership organization that I just launched, and I want to have merch, but I don't want to create it, build it, fulfill it, returns, refunds, all of these things. And so that was actually sitting in the back of our heads going, we could do this. We could do this for her organization. We could do this for businesses, for nonprofits, for churches, for schools, for all of these organizations that have their merch sitting in some dark, dim closet because they can't sell it. And they ordered way too much of it. And so my niece is back on. She's helping us with some reporting and some admin work. And I see so much potential in this. And we already have clients coming our way without trying. Like, it's just, when you're just like, oh my gosh, this is what a business is supposed to feel like. And so this podcast, thank you for inviting me on today, Ashley, because you gave me the nudge to, Tisha, get it done. You're going to announce this. It has to be in. So yesterday I mentioned to you that I switched everything on my LinkedIn profile. I took all of the branding stuff out, even though I still do a lot of that. My focus is really shifting to building this business and offering other ancillary services that we can to clients who are like, I still need consulting. I still need branding. I still need design. So this is why I said everything has become full circle, because I started with a marketing company and I'm ending with a merchandise marketing company. Like I'm like, oh, okay, we're back here where we're working with customers, we're working with clients, but I still haven't lost all the other things that I get to do, which I still love.
That's wonderful. Well, first of all, congratulations. That's
Thank you.
exciting. And
Thanks.
I love that it's all it kind of feeds in because I know I've struggled with this in the past. I know many people do nowadays because this idea of having kind of one job title or one
Mhm.
role is I think it's going by the wayside for many people because
Mhm.
some people, whether you have a full-time job and a side hustle or a hobby that's become something, or you are a full-time entrepreneur with multiple things,
Yeah.
it's tough sometimes to see how they might all relate or how do they connect to that core value or that driver for you. And I
Mhm.
love that you didn't let this go. You kind of acknowledged when you had that moment in the cabin where it was like, I'm not ready to let this go. I'm not, but you were also smart to say, but this isn't working the way it is. And
Yeah.
so we're going to dig in and rework it. And I think those make for some wonderful stories down
Yeah.
the road because you often hear about that. I mean, so many companies, so many huge global brands we know about started as something completely different that you would never associate them with now. But
Right.
they kind of learned and changed and adapted and switched and here they are today. So,
Yeah, it's necessary. It's necessary. And I really feel it's like go with your gut, go with your heart. And if it just doesn't feel right, or here's a great word. This was
mm-hmm,
another word that I had as one of my words of the year. If it doesn't align with you, right?
mm-hmm,
Alignment, and it feels forced, then you're not on the right path. So here's kind of my story, right? About how this didn't align with me. So first thing, I actually did have to let one of our other partners go because
mm-hmm.
we weren't in alignment. She wasn't pulling the weight that we thought she would. And so there was one thing. And then the second thing, if you remember this, Ashley, I was banned off of Facebook and Instagram for over a month. And it had to do with Love, Laugh, Smiles, like our
I didn't
Instagram.
know that, really.
Yeah, our Instagram account got flagged. And because it was tied to my personal email for tishamariePelletier.com,
Yeah.
I was banned. Like I couldn't get on at all. Like they were like, you're done. And it was just because of this one Instagram account that had 80 followers that we were
Mm-hmm.
trying to build. I think it might have been because I had a VA overseas that was just helping with some things. And I don't know if that flagged it, but
Mm-hmm.
they were like, it just made me laugh. They were like, Tisha, you're not following our community standards. And I'm like, me? Do everything for the community. Like I'm always in the community. So I was having a really, really hard time. So the day that I was in Pine was the day I found out. And I was like,
Mm.
okay, you know what? You're right. This isn't the business I need to be in. So we haven't necessarily stopped Love, Laugh, Smile gifts. But what we've done is we have put it as one of our clients under our merch page. So it's under product based businesses because we still get people asking us for custom orders,
Mm-hmm.
and so we're like, you know what? It's just going to be one of our clients. Like that's our custom merch page where we're like, you want a one-off product, you want a t-shirt with some cool design on it, then we will create that and we'll put it up on Love Laugh Smile so people can buy it there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still utilizing it. We just didn't make that the full focus.
So smart. I mean, all that adapting and changing and tweaking, it's I mean, to a certain extent, when you're creating a business, it's really this extension of you. And if you think about the journey that you as a human being have been on, it's this constant kind of adjusting and adapting and well, should I be with that friend group or this friend group or that tribe or this tribe? And you have, and I think it's wonderful that you acknowledge too that there will be, just like in your personal life, there will be those moments of difficult, uncomfortable conversations with people
Mm-hmm.
that hopefully the point is that it clears the air
Mm-hmm.
and you can move forward. And it's something that I've struggled with. My wife is much better at this, not surprisingly, but so she's
Women
had to
often
school me at
are.
times. She's had to school me at times and say, you need to have this hard conversation or you need to confront whatever this thing is.
Yeah, smart women.
Yes, yes. So we're all better for it. We're all better for it. So um, that's awesome. So what are you? So you've still got your other. Are your other businesses kind of still rolling? They're just kind of on this, not on the sideline, but they're not forefront. I guess, in the way this
They're
one
not
is.
forefront. So people who have been following me on LinkedIn, you'll see that the authentic with a touch of badass. Actually, LinkedIn wouldn't let me put that anymore. When I tried to update my headline, it's like you have like foreign characters. I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but I'm guessing it was because it was bolded. But anyway, I just took it off. And so you'll see that like the cover has changed. I have now pushing our merch page instead because I feel like this is a business, just like Olenka was telling me, this is a business that can sustain itself. We can hire people, we can build it. Ginger and I are, on board. We're growing it. I feel like my kids could help with it. Like it really is a bigger business. Whereas Tisha Marie Enterprises is just me, solopreneur Tisha, who helps with business consulting, who does some speaking, who hosts some events, things like that. So while I'm not totally ignoring those businesses, I'm still taking clients through referrals and even past clients that have come back to me. And then my brokerage keeps me pretty busy, just handling basically, I'm like their marketing operations spokesperson, networking event person. Like I am that person for them. So that keeps me busy. And then any listings, for real estate, I still do since I have my license. So it's
And
like I have a lot. I have a lot
I
of
was
things
gonna say,
going
and let's not forget, you are a mom too, which is
to
it's that's a
teenagers. Oh
that's a
my
big
gosh.
job unto itself. How old are yours? Remind me.
Oh, so Caleb is 16 and he is going to be a senior next year. And then Ellie is in seventh grade. And you don't have girls, Ashley, bless your heart, but it is a lot. It's a lot. It's just constant. Like I'm learning a lot in this teenage mom, years. Oh
It's a
goodness.
challenge. Yes, mine are both boys, 17 and 14, and my
Mhm,
17-year-old talks about things that are beyond, like I barely think about these things now, let alone when I was 17.
mhm.
And my 14-year-old is, I have those moments where I'm speaking to my wife and she's like, he's 14, he's going through a lot. It's not about
Yeah,
you.
I
I
know.
think
And
I
we have
still
to just
remember when they
remind
were little,
ourselves.
and it was like all they wanted to do was play with Lego and hang out.
I know, and cuddle. And I
And
mean,
cuddle.
I just, the whole thing is I barely get words out of my kids just saying, like, I'm like, how are you? It's the one word
Yeah.
answer. Fine, good, fine,
I don't know. That's the
whatever.
one I always get. I don't know. And I'm like, you don't know how you are? I don't know. What do you want to eat? I don't
I
know.
don't know.
What are you listening to? I don't know. You're listening to it right now. What do you mean you don't know?
You don't know. What do you mean? I know. I know. You just, you know what? It's part of the journey. We're going to sit here and laugh about this. 20 years
Yes,
later, we're going to be back on your
exactly.
podcast and be like, oh, yeah, now the kids can't stop talking.
Exactly. And I'm sure you have these moments, but as a parent, I have these moments where yes, when I'm like, "How was your day?" and "What are you listening to?" and "What do you want to eat?" they're like, "Eh." But I also have those moments when they will come into my office and sit on the sofa and just like want to talk. And
Yeah.
so I'm trying to be much more present and just be like, "All right, whatever I'm working on can wait. We're going to have this conversation about whatever it is
Yeah.
because this is a moment when they want to open up." And so I take advantage of that whenever I
Yeah.
can.
Right. Right. I'm laughing at Royce's comment here. Is that
Oh,
all?
is that all? Exactly. I know it's as if you don't have enough going on. If I
Yeah.
had your full bio, it'd be like, all right, hold on, give us another minute here. We're just reading, we're
You
just
know
going
what's
through the rest.
what's so funny, and I'm just going to break this down for people who are watching. Like, I think people look at my life and they're like, oh my gosh, does that girl even get to breathe, eat lunch? Like, what is it? And I'm going to say it comes back to what we talked about earlier about having systems, having
Mm,
processes, hiring, like delegating the things you don't want to do and asking for help. And for me, like I think I told you, like I'm so big into living a harmonious life and making sure I don't neglect things. So I love to read. I'm on a Duolingo streak. I think I hit 620 days. Like I worked out this morning. Like things that are really important to me, I make
hmm
sure I do them because that keeps the energy, that keeps the positivity, that just
And
keeps
as you
me
said, there's an
moving.
alignment, that
Yes.
alignment with who you are.
Yeah. So for me, it's okay. One big word, efficiency.
Mm,
That's it. Like people are like, what's your secret? It's efficiency. It's, like I'm very big, this, Ashley, about stacking appointments. So I have a lunch meeting on the 4th with a client. We were supposed to meet in Tempe. And I said, actually, she's in Scottsdale. And I said, I need to go to Scottsdale anyway to return some shirts. I can come to Scottsdale. She's like, great. And then I asked another gal who I know is in Scottsdale. I said, hey, are you free this day? She's like, yep. So I have a coffee meeting. I'm dropping off shirts. I have a lunch meeting all in Scottsdale because I'm like, I don't want to go to Scottsdale. It's 45 minutes for me.
Yep.
So how do I make the most of the time I have? And how do I just take back control of my calendar so I'm not all over the place and I don't know where to go? And I feel like I'm running 1,000 miles a minute, like, well, I don't want that. We want simplicity.
Simplicity. I'm coming back to that word. And it's funny because you helped me sort of get my mind in the right place to launch this podcast. Mm-hmm. And then what I did just, I guess, in December was so I do this every other Thursday. I basically took the exact same framework, the exact same model, and created a second version that is the Communication Blueprint podcast. Mm-hmm. It's all the same infrastructure. It's just 1 week, the other week, 1 week, the other week. It's very, and then I create clips, which becomes content.
Yeah.
And yes, it only took me 12 years to figure this out. But thank you, Tisha, for helping me initiate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm so happy it helped. That to me is the best part about what I get to do is this, Ashley, like I'm a big connector. So you ask me, who do you know? Who do you know? And I'm like, oh, I know these people. I love mashing people together and watching them go do the magic together. It always comes back to tell me that it was you. It was always you that started this whole thing. And so I can't get enough of that. I love that. I love that. And I love just helping people just see it differently. So if I can help you see it differently and do it better, then that's helpful for all of us.
Absolutely. And it's funny, you talked about the start. So when we, I don't know if you remember this, but when we first met,
were we commiserating over coffee?
It was interesting because I reached out to you, and at that time, I think I don't remember if your book had just been released, but you were an author. And at the time, I was very intimidated by the idea that you were an author. And so I really was self-conscious about, well, she's not going to have time to talk to me. And why would she want to meet with me? And then we met. And I think that was where I got the first glimpse of Tisha's authenticity, because you were very transparent about some stuff that you were going through and the challenges. And I was like, wow, this published author is a human being. How shocking.
It's so funny. Yes. So I do. I have 2 books out on Amazon, and the last one, What Are the Odds, is also on Audible. And so people can hear me tell my story. People love that. They're like, I loved listening to you tell your story. It became more real. Like we were just in a coffee shop and you were sharing all your stories. And I carry that over. Like Lessons in My Lexes is really storytelling with a lesson that I've learned from it. Mm-hmm. And I remember that very clearly. Like, I think were we like in Phoenix or Mason? We were somewhere, but we were at a coffee shop.
Yeah, I remember this little coffee shop.
Yeah. And I feel like we were commiserating because I was at a point in my life that, and I love that. I don't know if this is Cindy again, but someone had just wrote resilience. And
oh yes, yeah.
Oh yeah, and you have to be resilient. You have to persevere, because that was a time, one of the darkest moments I remember in my life, where I had to rebuild. I had to gain my confidence back. I was like not even wanting to be an entrepreneur. I had just started even a part-time job because my business was kind of in the slumps and I was trying to figure it out. And then I get it back up and then COVID hits. And then I had to pivot again. And, it's just all of these things that I think they're such great tests of your character, of how you get back up in the game and how you just keep moving forward and who you surround yourself with. And so,
you're obviously sharing this on the podcast here, but one of the things I love about this platform in general is you get to hear those sorts of very honest, authentic, sometimes intimate details about the struggles that people have gone through in personal and business and, whatever it is. And I love that in this age of sort of technology where I think so many people feel disconnected and divided, and they're hungry for that connection. And so I love that this is a way to let people know that we all go through stuff. We're all struggling. We all have goods, bads, and it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to reach out. And so I say that now to everyone watching live and watching, on the replay. If you need help, if you need someone to speak to, please, I will nominate myself. I won't nominate Tisha, but I'll nominate myself to say, hey, we're here for you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I'll navigate myself. Of course. I never want anyone to go through life alone feeling like they have no one to talk to about what's going on, because it's lonely, especially as an entrepreneur, especially as a solopreneur. It's lonely. If your family doesn't understand and they don't get you, who else do you
Yeah.
talk to?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's I remember it's funny years ago, all these like especially with social media, all these little kind of, clips of Steve Jobs or different people saying things
Mm-hmm.
and you go, "Yeah, I get it." But it's now it resonates what Steve Jobs talked about, like basically to be an entrepreneur, and I think he said this specifically, you have to be insane, because he said it's an absurd amount of work. Most people aren't going to understand you, and you're going to have to do these moments where you're sort of fighting by yourself, just in the dark. I'm just moving forward. I don't know how, but and so I don't know.
It's
I don't want to end on that necessarily, but there's an honesty to it about the reality of what it takes to. I mean, when you think about it, you are creating something that has not existed before.
mhm.
And that, by definition, shouldn't necessarily be an easy thing because it's never
it's
existed before.
it's not easy. I love that quote though, and I'm insane. I think you're insane. I
We
think all
have
of
to
us are
be
insane that
a
are
little bit
listening to this.
insane. Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's insane. And you know what? But like we talked about earlier, I wouldn't have it any other way. Like I love my life. I love that, in the mornings, I really have put aside time to take the kids to school and have a conversation with them and get the house tidied up and take the dogs on a walk. Like I love that I have that built in and still be here for that, but still like do the things I need to do during the day to feel good about, yes, I accomplished this. And that was the other thing. Like I don't overload my schedule. We talked about efficiency. I
Yep.
just really love to say, okay, these are the things I need to get done today. The rest can wait till tomorrow. So showing ourselves some grace of I don't need to do all this stuff. I just need to do this and then end it. Close my day out, hang with the kids, have dinner with the family, and the next day is here. It's so nice to be able to know that, okay, to know tomorrow's a new day and we start this again. And
Exactly. I love
next
that. Give yourself
projects.
grace. Give
Yeah.
yourself grace. I think this kind of quote unquote hustle, crush it culture
Ah,
is it's unrealistic, it's not healthy, and
mm-mm,
I don't think it ends up being beneficial for anyone involved. So I'm glad that
mm-mm.
you're setting a different bar for what matters.
Yeah, I've always said that. I don't subscribe to hustle and grind. I don't. I
No,
believe in putting my priorities first and getting those things done because that's what keeps me energized throughout the day to just keep doing more, right? And knowing when to stop and knowing when to say I need a break and I'm taking it.
absolutely. And so we've gone about 7 minutes over,
Yeah.
and to me that's the sign of a great conversation. I'm sure we could go much longer, but I want to be respectful of your time. And so, is there anything upcoming? I know you've got a few things. The big event that you've been hosting for years is coming up. So, first of all, what's coming up? And then, how can people get a hold of you or connect with you if they want to learn more?
Sure, sure. So, as you mentioned, I do host an event and I simplified it even more. I used to host this big social connect, which was a big production in my eyes. It was like a full-on event.
It was.
And
I remember
and
those.
now, you know what? But I had to go back to Ashley, like, why did I start it in the first place? And it was really the whole answer was just to meet really good people at happy
Mm.
hour.
Yep.
And so all I do is host a happy hour. It's free to attend. It's coming up April 30th at Courthouse in downtown Chandler. And they have a full restaurant now, so people can order food. You buy your drinks, I'll bring the pretzels, and it's just a good time to get to know people in a non-business setting. Like there's no business cards. I still do the name tags, Ashley, because I love getting people to just tell me a little bit about you. Like tell me about the favorite book you're reading right now. Like I
Hmm.
love getting into conversations with people just about anything other than business. Like business will come. Let's just get to know each other first. And so that event's coming up 4 to 6 happy hour, so you can still get home to be with your family. And I do that every quarter. I'm hosting a bowling event again, and over the summer,
Nice.
which I love because that's another good networking bowling event. And then yeah, I have a big announcement coming up in May. Can't really share too much about it, so you'll see me drop that when it happens. But super excited. It was a bucket list item for a long time, and now it's here. And then last but not least, I think we've talked about me moving. So I move into
Oh yeah.
Costa Rica in a couple years, and that's why
Wow.
It's why our
Exciting.
merch page is exciting for me, because I can take it on the road and just build it there too. But how you get a hold of me, LinkedIn is usually where I hang out, and I'm also on Instagram. And you can visit my website at tishamarieNterprises.com. But I would say LinkedIn is where you can find a majority of the information, even if you just hit the About Me section.
Awesome. Well, Tisha, thank you so much for your time and giving of yourself. You have had a tremendous influence on me in my life and on this journey. And so I want to thank you for that. And, for those of you out there watching, if you haven't connected, please do. You will be the better for it. And with that, I will say thank you to you, Tisha, and thank you to everyone watching. It has been wonderful. And so thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Ashley. And thanks to everybody that's tuning in or watching the replay.
Awesome. All right. All right, everyone. I'm just going to jump right out here. Thanks, Tisha.
Thanks.
Hey, everyone. So thank you again for watching. I appreciate it. And again, thank you to Tisha for her time. If you want to share this with everyone, please do. It's on LinkedIn, it's on YouTube, and we'd love a subscribe or a follow. And join me in 2 weeks, April 10th, for the next Impact Tribe podcast, when my guest will be Alex Dumas. If you don't know Alex, Alex is a sought-after international speaker. He's a best-selling author, a leadership and mindset coach. He's trained hundreds of corporate leaders and entrepreneurs to become, quote, win-win communicators, in addition to his work leading global movements that have generated over 6 figures for charitable causes. So tune in 2 weeks for that. And until next time, thank you to everyone for creating a positive impact on your world. Together, we can make change happen. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.